Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon. This is the show where I take a look at every classic Doctor Who story, plus a bunch of Big Finish audios, one episode at a time, one day per week. And today, on the 10th of February, 2018, we are starting the penultimate Patrick Troughton story, The Space Pirates, with episode 1. And this is the second story by Robert Holmes, and starting out, this is much weaker than the Crotons already. There isn't a lot of plot to this one. There are pirates in space, and they are trying to find this Argonite on these beacons, which the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe land on, and they get trapped in. That's really all that happens. Like, seriously, the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe show up 15 minutes into the episode. It takes 15 minutes for our main characters to show up. This as a story is going to be a long one. It's 6 episodes long. This is episode 1, and only one episode exists. The rest of these are reconstructions, and these reconstructions, they are very bad reconstructions. They don't have any telesnaps. They have some production photos to go off of, and the entire episode 2, which exists, plus some model footage which happens to survive, mainly from episode 1. So, as a story, this is an interesting one because it's a story that very little actually survives of, but it doesn't really help that it's not a very good introduction to the story. I mean, maybe it'll turn it around, now that the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe have actually arrived, because, them being there is at least enjoyable. Like, I can enjoy the fact that the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe, are in the episode, when they show up, because, they just have that chemistry. But other than that, everyone else is boring. We have this Harmac guy who's like, well, we're going to leave you here for 6 weeks to try to capture the pirates, because that's, I guess, a plot point. You have a bunch of other characters. You have the pirates who are finding this Argonite. You have this planet, this mining corporation. It's a story that you really, it's like, here, we're just going to throw everything at you and hope you give us something in return, which really, there's nothing to be given back in return. It's a dull story. The story's just sort of like, oh yeah, well, we're doing this. This is how we're doing it. It's a story. People might like it. People might watch it. There just isn't a lot of plot, a lot of anything. It's 20 minutes of absolute filler. So I'm going to give The Space Pirates episode 1 a 3 out of 10, which isn't a very good start to a story. Alright, so it is the 11th of February, 2018, and I just finished watching episode 2 of The Space Pirates, the only episode of the story that actually, exists. And because it exists, I can actually talk about it more, just because it actually seems to, as it exists, you can actually get the feeling for what the story is trying to do, which, is okay. It's not the best episode. It's this whole idea, like, well, this woman who owns this mining company's father died, and his business partner seems to have taken up piracy. This business partner is Milo Clancy, who is, oh god, he is so annoying. He's one of the most annoying actors. It's this sort of, aren't I hilarious because I'm putting on a funny voice? As a character, he's really, really shit. Like, he doesn't really, he doesn't, he he doesn't do much. He's a character. He is just sort of there. It's like, hi, I exist. Um, and that's about it. You know, um, you just sort of you have our characters, and they do things, but it's like, well, what do you want? We're just sort of running around, and things aren't necessarily really having any effect on the Dr. Jamie and Zoe, who they spend the entire episode just sort of trapped in. They're just sort of trapped in this. I guess it's a tube. Them being trapped is just like, yeah, we're trapped. Don't let us. We aren't gonna do anything. We're slowly running out of oxygen, and that's an okay aspect of the story. Like, it's not interesting. This story is just extremely boring. It's nice that the episode exists, which is good. And a lot of the stuff in the episode itself has interesting enough ideas, but nothing really too nothing too concrete, as it were. Like, it's not a very concrete story. It's like, well, we exist. The story it's a story, so you're gonna like it. Yeah, really. All I have to say is it's just Patrick Troughton. Everyone's having fun, but the Doctor and company are barely in this one. Like, they don't do much. They just sort of, they're just sort of there. And they like, well, we're here. Enjoy us. Like, that's it. So I'm gonna give the Space Pirates episode 2 another 3 out of 10, because this is just kind of sad. Alright, it is the 12th of February 2018, and I just finished watching the Space Pirates episode 3, and as a third episode of the story, I don't feel like really anything's been accomplished. Really, it's like you have this Madeline Segre character who is like, oh, her dad was friends with Milo Clancy and disappeared. You have this General Harmac who's going to this planet basically for like Argonite for some reason. It's not really adequately explained. Nothing in this episode has been explained, like, at all, and that really annoys me, just because it's like, well, what's the point of having story if you're not gonna explain anything about it? Like, your story really, you need to get your story straight, and actually, tell us what is gonna be happening with your story. Like, you can't just expect this to like this going on. It's a really boring episode. There's not a lot of good stuff. The Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, like, Milo is like, well, I'm not gonna shoot you. It's like, it takes like half the episode. It's like, all we get done is like, well, they're not pirates, but they get captured by pirates, and they are on this planet called Ta, which this Harmac guy is on. I'm guessing Harmac was working with the pirates. I don't know if that's revealed. I just feel like that's probably going to be a big reveal later on. He's going to be super secretly evil. And as a character, like, Milo's like, they're on this planet, and this planet is like, they're like in this planet, in the caves on this planet, and they get past by pirates, but they're trying to escape. They go into these tunnels, and then they fall, and that's the end of the episode for them. Like, the Dr. Jamie and Zoe aren't really doing much. This doesn't feel like Robert Holmes wrote a Doctor Who script. I mean, John Pertwee used to have this thing where if he would go and ask, like, hey, I'm the title character, why am I in less than half of today's script, of the pages of this script? Like, someone please tell me why. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, and that's something that, it bugs me about this episode. Like, there's just not a lot going on, and they're bad, and they're boring episodes. Like, there isn't anything I can really good that I can say is that, so, I'm going to give the Space Pirates episode 3 a 2 out of 10, because we are just decreasing in quality, and I don't think we can actually pick it up by the end. We don't really have a story. Right, it is the 13th of February, 2018, and I just finished watching the Space Pirates episode 4, and this episode is essentially just let's wander around in caves for some more time. That's really all that that the story is. I don't really... Let's wander around in caves, let's get Milo nearly shot, he's kind of already an annoying character. There's very, very little that actually gets done in this story. Like, it's a lot of, how I don't want to say how creepy, but how adventurous. This is an adventure story. Oh, pirates are here. Oh, the guy who's acting evil might actually just be might be one of the secretly working with the pirates. The guy who he thought was dead may actually be alive. It's a really bad middle episode. It doesn't give us any sort of, springboard to give us, a decent story, or, well, a story that can be, I don't want to say can be easily followed, just a story that knows what it is and knows what it wants to be, instead of this whole, everything's just, evil and piracy, and yeah, it's bad. The Dr. Jamie and Zoe are barely in it. We're pretty much just dealing with a shitty story. So yeah, I'm gonna give the Space Pirates episode 4 a 1 out of 10. It's not good. Alright, it is 14th of February, 2018. And I just finished watching episode 5 of the Space Pirates, and I think this might be the worst episode of Doctor Who one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who. Worst episodes of Doctor Who I've seen. It just... nothing happens. It's like, we're wandering through caves. Wait, now we're on the surface, even though we were just in caves a moment ago. The writing doesn't make any sense. And then there's, Madeline's father's still alive, and surprise, for some reason, he's Space Karl Marx. Seriously, I've lost the plot of this one. So, I just watched the episode, and I still have really no idea what happened. Let's see. So, we have, Harmac basically trying to kill everybody because he's evil, I guess? The pirates... The pirates, I don't know how to describe this. They're trying to find this Argonite shit. We're just told Argonite, it's expensive. It's
it's kind of, that's about it. Other than that, it's like, oh, it's our Deus Ex Machina. Who knows? But and like you have this whole thing where like nothing's happening. The Doctor's barely in this, and it isn't like this has the Daleks. It doesn't feel like Doctor Who. It just feels like this is a story where we have nothing to deal with. I mean, it's one of those stories. It just keeps going, and we are 5 episodes in, and I still have. I mean, it's taking too long. It's like, I guess I don't really get what the whole point of this is now. I mean, I guess they're running out of air. Is that the cliffhanger? I can't tell. It's really, really one of those things that I don't. I don't get it. I don't. It's an awful episode. There's no semblance. This doesn't even feel like Robert Holmes wrote it from his previous writings, from what I know is going to be his future writings. Like, seriously, how can anyone like this? I'm giving Space Pirates episode 5. It gets a 0 out of 10. It's shit. It's horrible. It doesn't know how to be a story, let alone a good one. It is the 15th of February 2018, and the Space Pirates is over. No, seriously, I'm just glad that it's over, because this was an awful story. The episode itself really doesn't give any credence to. There were. It's such a shame, because there were many good ideas throughout this story. It's just the sad fact of the matter. The sad fact of the matter is that just because they're good ideas don't make a good story. And this one, the pirates are defeated and everyone lives. That's it. There's no big loss. There's no big increase in quality at the 11th hour. It's just that at the 11th hour, everyone survives, and that's it. I don't even care about this story, really. It's awful. I'm going to give the Space Pirates episode 6 a 1 out of 10, because there isn't any plot to it. It's like, alright, the story's over, we're moving on. The Dr. Jamie and Zoe barely feature. In fact, they weren't at the studio recording. That's how little they featured, because they were too busy. They were filming for the next story, which it's this weird thing where, like, the weakest of everyone's eras seems to be their last story. Like, the weakest Hartnell era was one of the weaker ones was the Smugglers, which was, the Smugglers, in my opinion, was the weakest of the Hartnell era. This one is probably the weakest of the Troughton era. We have one more Troughton story to get through, but I doubt it can be as bad as this. So, the Space Pirates episode 6 gets a 1 out of 10. That, of course, leaves us for our usual averaging of every story. And we give the Space Pirates the lowest score any Doctor Who story has been given at this point, a 1.67 out of 10. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with me with this episode of the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon, especially because this isn't a good story at all. It's the weakest story I've done an episode on. So please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time in the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon when we do the final Patrick Troughton story with the War Games.